Doing some real estate, Mom. What do you think, dude? What do you think, Samantha? What's up, everybody? I got to tell y'all about what I just accomplished. It's probably one of the best real estate deals that I have done to date. This was my first six-figure return on flipping a single family home in real estate. And I want to talk about how I did it, what I did. I want you guys to be able to do this too. I want you to understand the numbers, because if I can do it, you can do it. And I think that it is within the grasp of really anybody once you understand a few things. And I'm going to talk about those things in this video. I'm super excited to teach y'all out there what I have been doing. And I believe I'm going to start a course and kind of talk about the intricacies of this, because I always believe there's another deal out there somewhere, and that if you execute it right and you don't hit certain landmines, it is within the grasp of a lot of people. It's not rocket science. In this video, we're going to talk about that. I'm super pumped about it. Let's get right into it. All right, I'm here at the title company to sign off on the closing of the Little Labrie house. I was super excited to get this property under contract, and once I did, I told Little Jack to get his work clothes on. Samantha loaded up the golf cart. All right, Samantha, what do you think about the golf cart?
It's our first reno trip over there.
Yeah, the real estate and golf cart.
That's right.
Little Jack's ready.
Makes traveling with random items a lot easier.
Yeah. With just about every tool we had, and we set out across the street to the house I had just bought. See, this flip was supposed to be a flip. Like when I first bought it, I was like, oh, I'll get it. Think I can flip it, make 50,000 or so. We can do it quick and not put a lot of effort into it. And it did like normal things do in real estate. It gets drawn out. But I was able to actually do better than I thought I was going to do. Little Jack helped. He ran up and down the floors the best he could. He watched his videos while we painted. And he basically supervised on a lot of the things. Samantha kept me in check. And we did some hard work on this property.
Whoa, Jack, what do you think?
Doing some real estate, Mom. What do you think, dude? What do you think, Samantha?
So far, so good. Look how open it is.
Where you going, Jack? Checking it out. Look for any problems. Look for any problems.
Cute. Very cute. Good pantry.
Mm-hmm. One of the biggest things about buying a flip real estate is location, 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 and knowing more about the location than other people. This house had one of the most beautiful sunsets right down the street, had the Blue Angels runway right down the street across the bayou. It attracts a crowd during the summer, perfect Airbnb spot. For the money, I just could not believe that there was a county park, the Blue Angels, a beach, a boat ramp, and some of the most fun activities for boating as far as skiing within 7 houses. I mean, we're talking about a good arm's throw times 2 and you're in the water. And everybody was telling me that, well, why you want to buy that old house? Location. It wasn't the size, it wasn't the square footage, because it was only a 3-1, almost 1,100 square feet, like 1097. And everybody's like, that's too small. You'll never get that money. That's why I'm the real estate agent and they're not. And I had no contact with the buyers on this. I was only dealing with the wholesaler because he had the contract. So I only talked to the wholesaler and made this deal happen. It was a no-brainer for me from the start.
This is a steal.
You always doubt me, Samantha. You always doubt me.
Never doubt you.
What do you think, Jack?
Come on, let's go look.
Pull, Jack.
Ready? Whoa, come help. Uh-oh.
That's where the old wall was right there. Jack, you can't sit on the nails, man. Don't be a rookie. I want to do these videos for you guys to learn, understand, figure out how I did it, and maybe you can do this yourself, because nobody taught me this stuff. I had to learn the hard way. So I've always been about documenting these things on YouTube for those of you out there. See, I've always said that your network is your net worth. And there's always another deal out there. There's always that one right around the corner that can really change your money situation if you know how to play it right. See, real estate is about getting the deal and knowing what to do with it. I had been going to the Pensacola Investors Guild for years, developing a network of people that knew that I would be looking for a deal if they found it. And for those of you who have never seen wholesalers, wholesalers are people that go out, find distressed properties or distressed sellers, and they get the property under contract, and then they come and market the contract for sale. And in most states, including mine, you can buy the contract, the equity of the contract, and buy the property. So don't mind the scribble back here. Little Jack was doing artwork. But here's the traps of flipping real estate, okay? The traps are trying to over-renovate. Just put it back together. Look at fairly modern, clean, nice shape. We weren't trying to do too much with this property. We were just going to make it financeable, make it clean, make it modern, and then let it go. We're not knocking down walls. We're not moving countertops. The kitchen was in great shape. The bathroom was in great shape. Those are the two big things. It had a new roof, new AC, newer AC, full modern flash hot water heater, 200 amp panel. It had everything for a modern house. All we had to do was fix the floors, fix the minor imperfections, fix a couple boards around the house, and then market it well. I had to do a lot of things in this deal to get it done, and I'm still kicking myself about the $7,000 commission I had to pay the other agent, even though I did all the work. But that's just part of it. So in this deal, that's exactly what happened. I was actually on a trip to Atlanta, and I got an email saying there was this little house that they were selling the contract for in Navy Plain. It happened to be like one street over from my house, and I just could not understand, even at the price they were selling the contract, what was wrong with this house. And as a real estate agent, I have a knack for this area and these type houses, and I knew exactly what it would sell for in my head if the right things were, if the house had these right things going on. So by the time I got there, they were going to have a one-time showing on Monday, and it was going to take cash to close, and I was going to go to it. And when I got there, there was probably 4 or 5 other flippers on the lawn, and I had about 30 seconds to look through this house. I already knew it had a new roof, new HVAC, it was on sewer. I knew that from the permits that were online that you can go and look at. Most counties will allow you to look at the permits on the site online, like on their permit department, like usually at the building department. So I had looked at all those, and I'd looked at the taxes. I'd looked at everything. I had basically done everything short of my own title search on this property. I knew the wholesaler. I had him send me the contract. All right, got the carpet all out so I could read through it, and that's really important. I'll touch on that later. But he was even having a 4-point done, a 4-point inspection done on it. So I was like, man, if that comes back pretty good, wind mitigation is going to be good. Insurance was going to be a question. But I knew that this house would sell between $280 and $310, depending on how this all turned out. And I knew that the contract was being floated for, I think it was $167,000. And if you've watched this channel, I've always taken the money that my YouTube channel has made and some of the side gigs, and I put it into a piece of real estate, and it comes out the other end. I've done it over and over and over and over again on this channel. If you've watched it over the years, watched my real estate, endeavors, and so that was exactly what I was planning to do here. And I just asked Samantha. I was like, "What do you think? What do you think?" It was a cute little yellow house with a white roof and a circle driveway, clean backyard, and it was about 7 houses from Gibbs Beach here in Navy Point, right by one of the prettiest sunsets in Navy Point. I was like, man, this is it. Good job, man. Gonna be a painter. You're gonna be Michelangelo, little Jack. That's right. Michelangelo. Buying houses from wholesalers is not for the faint of heart. I have a pretty good running knowledge of what I was doing in the process. You have to use cash, which, somebody could joint venture together and still buy this house, pool their money together. But I used my own cash. I bought it sitting right here. I wired the money. I signed the documents. Everything with the title company sitting right here. The earnest money was non-refundable. So if I would have backed out, I would have lost the earnest money. It's usually how a lot of these wholesale deals work because they're trying to juggle the contract. They usually can't close themselves, so they need cash from somebody else, so they just assign you the contract. So there is a risk that you can't back out. You'll lose. I would have lost my $3,000 if I'd have backed out. A lot of times you don't have a home inspection. You don't have any of these things, surveys, nothing. You don't even have a clear title when you go under contract. You're basically just going in good faith. You're hoping that you get it at such a discount that you're able to fix any of these things and still be at market value. I had a pretty big wedge. See, I thought I had a $100,000 wedge in between the contract purchase price and what I could sell it at. The flippers, their comps were so bad, but I guess that's why they're not real estate agents. I know if you're a flipper out there, you're going to hate me on this. But their comps, they thought it was worth 230, 240, 250 max. I was like, even at 250, I'm going to make money. This is a no-brainer. The upside was so great. The downside was so little. At 167, if I would have just had it at 167 complete, I didn't think I had to put a lot into it, I would have still been fine. I would have been under the rent rate. I would have been fine. I figured I could rent for about $2,000 a month. And that's one thing I've seen investors do a lot is when they go to price their property, they underprice it. And for this one, I knew my price point and I got it. I got less than I thought I was going to get, but I still made a good amount of money. But here's where you've got to understand with real estate or anything that never, if you're an expert at something, never take the advice of somebody that knows less than you on a subject. This is one thing that I've battled with over the years, that if you know for a fact that something is correct, don't go asking other people. Go ahead and execute it. If you feel confident in what you're doing, and that's what I've always had to do with these houses. A lot of these houses I've bought, everybody's like, you're going to lose your money. You don't know what you're doing. That house isn't worth that, blah, 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 blah. But if you do your own research, your own comps, you do your own analysis, you've walked through enough houses. I've walked through hundreds of houses, probably more than most people I know. And I was certain on this house. And, I sweated through the process, because I just couldn't figure out why they were selling so cheap. So I was like, I'll give you the 167. We went under contract. And I want to do a whole video. I'm going to do a course on real estate investing. And then I'm going to break down how to handle wholesalers. This wholesaler was a really good guy. He was straight up front. He did everything right. But sometimes when you read wholesaler contracts, they're very loose. And usually your earnest money is non-refundable. That's your money you're putting down for good faith in the contract. So in this case, I went ahead and did it. And the title company did not really understand how to do a wholesale deal. We had to really kind of explain it to him. It's wild because there wasn't an attorney at this title company. And even the attorney that they had on call didn't really understand wholesaling either. So me and the other wholesaler, because we were both in agreement, walked him through it and we closed the property. And I didn't get a survey because I've seen enough lot and block houses. I even went out there and found the pins. So I was fairly certain that I was correct on this because Navy Point's been around since the 40s and it hasn't moved much. So yeah, that's basically what went down. I closed on the property, and I knew I could do any of the work that was wrong with it. I figured I could do it because I looked underneath the house. I jumped on the floors. I knew that it was pretty solid. So once I closed, we did what was called a rent back with the seller. Allowed her to stay in place for like 60 days. She gave me basically a break-even rent, so I wasn't really sweating the holding costs, even though it wasn't up to market value. But we basically let her rent it back. She moved out. There was no problems. I held $30,000 back in escrow. I think it was 30. And until she moved out, nothing was broken. I was able to go in the house, make sure the house wasn't flooded, nothing was destroyed, sheetrock wasn't destroyed. It was as I went through it. And it was correct. She did a great job. She was a really nice person. And to this day, I still don't understand why she sold it for the price she did. And this is what's wild. The contract, it went under contract for $145,000. The contract was floated for $167,000. So I was paying the wholesaler like $25,000 for the paper, for the contract. And, you know, he made 25 grand, and I figured there would be about 100 grand left over for me. After paying for all the closing costs and the expenses. That was just my napkin math by doing this quite a bit. And basically that's the way it turned out. I mean, so if you watch my video on Real Estate Gold and you know that there's these epic wood floors underneath the carpet in a lot of these Navy Point West Side houses here in Pensacola. And this beautiful, beautiful wood floor. And if you finish them, bam! I mean, the sky's the limits for what you're going to get on that property. And, you know, this was a 3-1, about 1,000, almost 1,100 square feet. If I was going to actually keep it, I would have walled in the porch and made it another bathroom. It had a 3-2, and it would have been about 1,400 square feet. But that was a lot of work. And I have been in the market for a while here in Pensacola, and I knew the market was slowing. It just didn't feel right. The rent rate had kind of capped at like $2,000, $2,100 for this little house in Navy Point, because the other ones, I was looking at the other ones, and there was all of a sudden a lot of houses on the market that were sitting, and they were sitting for like 30 days, and I was like, I don't want to be stuck with this property long term. And I didn't really think that the wood floors had that many more finishes on it, and I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole of re-flooring the whole house. So I'm under the house here, and the WDO inspector said that there was termite damage, totally inactive. It's been sprayed, but they're making me fix it. See right here, board's fine, but there was some surface termite action, maybe 30 inches long. Just cleaning it up with the saw, getting rid of all the, you know, sign of it. This is overkill, way overkill. The board's fine, but I'm gonna sister 2 more boards up there, 2x10 on each side, and call this one a day. Hopefully get him to clear it. Way overkill. The board's fine, but you know, it's surface, scares people. If they say termites, everybody runs. I'm actually gonna start buying houses that's had termites because everybody gets scared and it's minimal usually. I knew it had, you know, a good life on the maybe 2 more sandings. So I was like, you know what? Airbnb, I think I've made this video. I think that it's going to get harder to do in the future. Insurance is becoming even harder for Airbnbs, and a lot of houses here on the Gulf Coast, the older houses, the insurance is higher, and you got to make sure it fits the bill. But it had everything I needed. Solid 4-point, solid wind mitigation, and it was in good shape. It had really no wood rot around it. I had a WDO inspection done before closing. That when I closed on it, came back good. It had everything you could possibly want. And in real estate, the key to it is writing checks and cashing checks, not doing the work. And I've never been a fan of 1031 exchanges because you usually wind up paying up for the next property. A lot of people won't tell you this, but when you do a 1031 exchange and you're trying to save 20% or whatever on your capital gains, you wind up losing it, paying it up for the next property if you already don't have it in the bag, right? Like you got to already have identified that property and you're moving into it for it to really work. So I've always been kind of shaky of that. And you know what? You make money, you pay taxes, and you move on. I figured that I would make about 100 grand on this property, which I wound up doing. I wound up selling this property for $280,000. The contract price was $145,000. I paid $25,000 for the contract. So it was a steal for the wholesaler if he would have closed it himself and done the work and then sold it. But, you know, that's not his gig. He wanted the quick 20 and run. I wound up selling it for $280,000. Put about, I don't know, $3,000 or $4,000 in it, somewhere around there. I was able to do most of the work. I was able to sand the floors, cost me less than $1,000. We had to paint the house, had some miscellaneous tools, had some random little things we had to fix. I had to pay for a termite bond or like a... See, one thing I was able to do was market this property correctly. The market had stopped, stagnated, and I was like, you know what? Let's get this thing moved. Let's take our profit. Pigs get slaughtered in deals like this. You take your profits, you pay the tax man, you move on. Don't try to get all fancy with it. So that's what we did. Walked point, got an offer, because at the end of the day, it's not worth what it comps. It's worth what contract you can get for it and how much money somebody's willing to transfer into your account for it. Okay, I figured this house would comp about 290. It was a little, the comps were a tad bigger. I mean, we're talking about 10, 15, 20 square feet. And all these houses are different in here. So it's really hard to get a perfect comp. So at 280, I was like, I'll take it. I got a good gain. We're going to move on with this one. I was tired of holding it. It was costing me about $500 or $600 a month between taxes, insurance, and electrical bill and all that stuff, trash, to hold it. So I was like, let's get it gone. I don't want to get stuck with this. We had interest rates. We didn't know what they're going to do, if they're going to keep going up. We didn't know what the Fed was going to do, and every point up is 10% off the price. So I was like, hey, that's just a running theory of how to guesstimate it. So that's my thought on that. This is also why I don't believe any of the garbage of everybody saying leverage, cash is trash, all this stuff. No, the only way you get massive returns on deals like this from wholesalers is by having cash and being known to have cash, because they bring awesome deals to you that you could never get done with the bank. The bank wouldn't have touched this property with a 10-foot pole, mostly because the wholesalers, the time horizon and everything you had to do, you could have not closed this deal. You had to have cash or friends with cash to be able to come in here inside 10, 15 days and fire off money, sign documents, and get deeds. They felt easy going into the house. And Samantha did a great job painting. And then we had to refinish one part of the floor that when we pulled the carpet up is where the old kitchen was. But we made that turn out look, it turned out it was a great house. I almost wanted to keep it. Oh, I had to fix the back patio. I had to put some new pieces of decking down because some of them had some wood rot in it. Turned out great. And I was able to get that done in a couple hours, just, break back in it here. And, so I was able, I think after the closing costs and everything, right around $103,000 I made on the house, $100,000. And then I was able to friend the people across the street. They were some great people, and we talked every time I was over there, and they wanted me to help them buy a house across Pensacola. So the commission on that was like $8,000. So made right around $110,000 on this little house that I found from a wholesaler just by shaking hands and networking and by having cash. Because to this day, I still don't believe in including the bank on deals, because you get a better deal up front by using your cash. Speed was the big thing here. I probably could have got the deal done in a couple months, but I dragged my feet. I was doing other real estate. Still got it done, still made money. And you might be wondering what I'd probably do with the money. I paid off Samantha's car, and I bought some cheap boots on clearance at Academy. And the rest, we'll do it again. So that's really the analysis of this deal. You buy it right. Make sure your wedge is big enough, because if you're left or right wrong on something, you've got something to play with. Still don't know why they sold the property so cheap. I think they just wanted to leave, and they were motivated sellers, and the wholesaler found them, and I was able to help them. It had some nasty carpet in it, and it smelled a little funky, like the carpet was old. Once we got out of there, cleaned it all up, everything kind of cleaned up and smelled a lot better. But you know what? It's part of it. You want to find properties that are cosmetically damaged and you can fix it. And that's what we did. Nothing that needed massive work and permits. It was all quick and easy. And that is the goalpost of real estate. And that's where you got to stay if you want to do it right. Oh, and don't let the market catch you, because it almost caught me, but I felt it coming. If you happen to be on the Gulf Coast of Florida or Alabama, email me down below if you're looking to buy or sell a property, or you got something you need to get rid of, or you don't know what to do with it. My email is down below. Let me know. I happen to be a licensed real estate agent here in Florida and Alabama, and I'd be happy to help you with whatever you need. So don't forget to like and subscribe, comment down below. I hope this video helped. I was just kind of like spewing out my thoughts on this. And hopefully if you're a young real estate person out there and you're wanting to know how to do this, and make a 6-figure return is wild. And they're all over town. So see you guys later.